fellow Toastmasters and guests. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Never has 6 simple words sounded so sweet to a 9-year-old kid. Down goes Frazier. It was Monday night, January 22nd, 1973. The World Championship fight between George Foreman and Smoking Joe Frazier. And my dad had bought us tickets to see the fight on closed circuit television. You see, back in those days, the big fights didn't come on regular TV. You had to go to your local theater to watch it on closed circuit. Now, my dad, Blanton, he was the world's biggest Joe Frazier fan. He bragged relentlessly about how Smoking Joe Frazier was his homeboy from South Carolina, and how he come from a hard-working, poor family. And he fought his way to the top, surely on his own will, and a devastating left hook. Now, if you know my dad, you'd have sworn he was a preacher. Every conversation turned into a sermon, where he beat a dead horse back to life again on any given topic. In fact, if I wasn't afraid of getting knocked out myself, I could have left him talking, gone to my friend's house across town, got a haircut, played a game of basketball, come back home, and he'd just be concluding his introduction. By the time I was 9 years old, I had heard the glories of Smoking Joe Frazier to the point I was ready to throw up. I grew to hate the man because my dad bragged about him so much. So that would probably make you think I'm a George Foreman fan. Well, actually, at that time, I didn't even know who George Foreman was. According to my dad, he was just another victim who was going to be put to sleep by Smoking Joe Frazier. So I figured, hey, I'm in for another 6 months of endless bragging about how Joe Frazier knocked somebody else out. My hero was Muhammad Ali. And the reason I was so elated when Howard Cosell said those wonderful words, "Down goes Frazier," was because a year earlier, Joe Frazier beat my hero, and I was devastated. You see, in 1967, Ali was the undefeated, undisputed world heavyweight champion. But they stripped him of his title because he refused to be enlisted in the U.S. Armed Forces during the Vietnam War. And he did this because of his genuinely held religious beliefs. So they stripped him of his title and they branded him a draft dodger. What no man could do in the ring, this body of bureaucrats did with the stroke of a pen. And Ali was exiled from boxing for 3 years, 3 of his peak fighting years. And when they vacated the title, Joe Frazier beat some has-been, unremembered fighter by the name of Jimmy Ellis. But in October of 1970, Ali was reinstated, and he was on a ferocious tear to come back and get his title. You see, nobody had beaten Ali in the ring. And in the eyes of many, including my own, Joe Frazier was an illegitimate champion. But my dad didn't see it that way. He called Ali a coward because he wouldn't go fight in Vietnam. And that infuriated me. I was mad at my dad, and I was mad at Joe Frazier for beating my hero. March 8th, 1971 was supposed to be my turn to get the last laugh. But unfortunately, Joe Frazier won that fight, the fight of the century, they called it, by a 15-round unanimous decision. And I was so devastated when I heard the outcome, I destroyed my bedroom. I tore down pictures of Ali and Frazier. And did my dad try to console me or give me a right hand of sportsmanship? Heck no, he laughed and gloated for weeks. So here comes January 22nd, 1973. George Foreman versus Joe Frazier. My dad decided to buy tickets in New Jersey. He lived in the Bronx, New York. He bought them in Jersey because the tickets were cheaper and there's no sales tax in New Jersey. And if there's anything my dad loved more than Joe Frazier, was saving a buck. So we made the 37-minute drive from the Bronx to Patterson, New Jersey, got out of the car, started walking to the theater, and my dad starts packing his pockets. Look of terror on his face. And I said, "What's wrong, Dad?" "I left the tickets on the table in the kitchen." So he grabs me, throws me back in the car, and we can do the fastest round trip to Patterson, from Patterson back to the Bronx we've ever seen. We get back to the theater, Dad's dragging me out the car, trying to make that fight so make sure he can see Joe Frazier knock somebody else out. But we walked into that darkened, smoke-filled auditorium. I heard those 6 sweet words from Howard Cosell. "Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!" I only wish they had cell phones in 1973, because the look on his face was priceless. I didn't see the knockout till a couple weeks later on ABC's Wild World of Sports, but my dad's face told the story. So the bottom line is, Ali got his rematch with Joe Frazier a couple of years later. And you might say, well, yeah, George Foreman knocked Joe Frazier out, but what's that got to do with Ali? Not much. But the point is, Ali got that rematch, and during that rematch, he beat Joe Frazier this time by unanimous decision in 12 rounds. He almost knocked Joe out in the second round. I was ecstatic. My father was quiet. But, you know, my father's going to be home with the Lord now, and he left behind him a plethora of pithy sayings which still echo in my mind. And one of his favorites was this one. He said, "Son, in order to be half as great as your father, you have to be twice as great as your father." Well, Muhammad Ali beat Joe Frazier twice to Joe Frazier's once. So that must mean I am the greatest.